Welcome, everyone. This is Reimagined into Reality, the PMC Challenge webinar that will answer all your questions about PMC 2020. I'm Jared Collins. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the PMC Challenge. And on behalf of our staff, I want to thank you all for sharing your lunch hour with us. We have several hundred PMC riders, volunteers, and virtual riders checking in right now. So we're going to share a few photos with you from past PMC weekends as they finish logging in, and then I'll be back to start our program in 2 minutes. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Reimagined into Reality, the PMC webinar that will tell you everything you need to know about your reimagined PMC. My name is Jared Collins. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the PMC Challenge. And on behalf of all of us at the PMC, we thank you for sharing your lunch hour with us today. We've got an exciting program for you, and I think it's one that's going to answer a lot of questions that some of you have shared with us about how you reimagine your PMC ride. First, you'll hear from Billy Starr, our founder and executive director, who will have a couple important tips for why there's a lot riding on you, particularly this year, and he'll share some of his own plans as well. Next, Reimagine Live. Find out what kind of programming the PMC has been planning for you for this weekend so that we can capture and engage all of our riders and their donors in the excitement of PMC weekend. Not in ordinary times. That says a mouthful right there. We will hear from two of our staff about how you can meet fundraising success in a very extraordinary period. I'll talk a little bit about what it means to reimagine your PMC, how to go about planning it, and how some of your fellow riders are already planning on celebrating the weekend. We've got something called What's in the Box that will be a sneak peek into the shipments that PMC riders, volunteers, pedal partners will receive in advance of PMC weekend so that they can make sure that they're ready for the big weekend. We'll cover questions and answers as well. And in fact, I would encourage any of you who have questions to click on the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom window. And you can there either enter your own question or upvote questions of other participants. And at the end, we'll choose the most popular questions that are relevant to a Reimagined PMC weekend, and we'll answer those. Finally, we're going to be checking in with the co-host of our Emmy Award-winning WBZ TV opening ceremonies, Lisa Hughes. So let's get started. I'm going to pass the microphone to the founder and executive director of the Pan Mass Challenge, Billy Starr.
Thank you, Jared. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all. Boy, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Pandemic, politics, race, climate. But in our case, in our mission for 41 years, we remain funding cancer research. And I'm reminded, quite frankly, that for the first 17 years of this event, I ran this event out of my dad's house. And I could say to you, as paraphrased wisdom to me almost every day as I came in my car or left on a bicycle, was don't do anything stupid, and remarkably effective, as I'm still here to share with you. But while we were building this event, we didn't have quite what we have now, which is a 40-year track record of results. You have helped all of us build this. Look at this remarkable chart. You're part of it. We built this through repetition, through our 100% pass-through, through the same folks showing up year after year, and all of this energy harnessed into one remarkable check every year. And now we're sort of cast back into that earlier era where we don't have the event weekend. It's in fact, commit, you'll figure it out. For in fact, you're all event coordinators now. You get to do what we do here on a year-round basis as you reimagine your weekend, either solo or with small groups, all over the nation, all over the country. So this is a remarkable opportunity if you consider the visuals of what our impact will be. And the results will speak for themselves. Last year, there were some 350,000 donors that made up that $63 million check. The key ingredient, the catalyst for which might have been the PMC weekend, is now PMC Reimagined. But regardless of mileage, and quite frankly, it's been a long time since we've ever put an emphasis on mileage. It's about the commitment to ask, to share, to dream, and to put all of our efforts into this fundraising mission. You're all a part of it. So I say to you, whatever you're doing, be visible, share it. Online, with your riders, with your teams, and particularly some of the people you might feel are hesitating at this point. It's pretty important that they all remember what they signed up for. And I'm guessing if you're on this webinar right now, you're totally engaged, though you may want some answers. Share your results with what you're doing, what your plan is, and what your goals are with your donor base, with your family, with your friends. All of that social media and reminding is effective, as it's our experience that people want to give to fundraise and, to keep our mission alive at Dana-Farber. My PMC Reimagined will take place on Cape Cod somewhere the week prior to traditional PMC weekend. And I'll ride a century with a group of guys, small group that I've pretty much done my riding with for 15 to 40 years, as we keep our spirit alive and do what we do best as fundraisers. I'm committed. I'll figure it out. You will as well. So I want to thank you for that and enjoy the rest of the show. Following me now is Director of Marketing, Bill Alfano.
Thank you, Billy, and thank you, all of you. Good afternoon. A lot of people have asked, so what is PMC Reimagined? Well, let me start with what the goal is. As Billy alluded to, the goal of all of this is to connect the PMC community of riders, volunteers, sponsors, and donors to both the meaning and the mission of the PMC, with a laser focus on raising money for Dana-Farber. Next slide, please. We've developed a schedule of interactive features starting Friday night, July 31st through Sunday, August 2nd, with a strong focus on Saturday, August 1st. Our hope is to create a moment in time, hopefully to both motivate and inspire. This will be built on a foundation of live and recorded videos, social media, lots of content from you, impact messages, which are all inspired by some of the most iconic moments of traditional PMC weekend. Let's take a closer look. Next slide, please. It all starts Friday night at 7 p.m. with our awesome media partner, WBZ TV. These are the traditional opening ceremonies, which this year is going to be called PMC 2020 Live. It's going to be hosted by Lisa Hughes, who you'll hear from later, and David Wade. The show is also going to feature messages and stories from Billy, Dana-Farber docs, pedal partners, riders, volunteers, and a little segment called Billy's Ride, which will get inside of Billy's head for once and hear what he's thinking as he's doing his PMC 2020 Reimagined ride. Next slide, please. Saturday, August 1st is our full day of programming. It's going to start with a virtual start at 7 a.m. We're going to be asking you to put on your jersey, grab your bike, take photo or video, and send it to us through a special link, which you'll be receiving. Leading up to PMC weekend, that's the key. We're going to take all these pictures and videos and create a starting line experience that we're going to show at 7 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, there's going to be an at-home Zoom ride hosted by Tim Johnson, Olympian Evie Stevenson, PMC's Jarrett Collins, and both Dr. Chouari and Lisa Sherber from Dana-Farber. You can join us using Zwift, Peloton, or any indoor trainer. And like I said, it'll be featured on Zoom. At noon, we're going to feature a pedal partner video celebration. This is going to be made up of pictures and videos submitted from our pedal partners and their families, as well as the teams that ride for them. If your team has a pedal partner and you haven't yet sent in your video, please do. The deadline is upon us. This will be a video inspired by the ride into Lakeville, which is special to all of us. At 3 p.m., the virtual MMA experience kicks off. This is fun. It's going to be made up of an Instagram scavenger hunt, live music from Time Flies, Adam Ezra, Louis Bello, and more, team photos, sponsor and Dana-Farber video spotlights. And then the day culminates at 6 p.m. with our Living Proof Cancer Survivorship Toast, which will be on Zoom. We're going to invite all PMC Living Proof community members, which this year is around 940, made up of riders and volunteers, as well as cancer survivors from all over the world, to join this emotional and poignant part of PMC weekend. Next slide, please. On Sunday, August 2nd, for about 2 hours starting at 9 a.m., we're going to do a social media blitz. All of your posts from the weekend will be retweeted, shared, reposted on all the PMC social media channels. It's a great way to highlight everything you did for your Reimagined weekend, and we're proud to do it. Next slide, please. So you may be asking, how do I remember all this stuff? Where can I find all this stuff? Well, we're creating what we're calling the PMC Reimagined hub site, which will live right on the PMC website. The plan is to launch it by July 31st. On that page will be links, video players, social media stream, and more. All elements from the weekend will be able to be consumed on your laptop, desktop, tablet, mobile, PMC website, as well as both Facebook and YouTube Live and other social media channels. Next slide, please. No surprise at all, our sponsors have once again really stepped up by creating offer and promotion specifically for PMCers. You may not be getting an actual goodie bag as you check in and register this year, but we have a virtual goodie bag for you. Where you can find that is on our website. You go to Ride on the menu, and then on the drop-down menu, click Virtual Goodie Bag. There's a bunch in there, special offers, coupons, different things you can do from our dedicated sponsors, so please take advantage of it. We're really, really excited about PMC Reimagined, and hope you are also. Thank you very much. Next up is Michelle Summer and Dave Hellman.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk a little bit about how these are not ordinary times, which is no surprise to anybody. And, you know, given the strange world that we live in, how do we, the PMC community, deliver? We have a mission to deliver funds to Dana-Farber for them to fight cancer and to bring hope to everybody affected by cancer. And as Billy said, if you're on this call, you're already very engaged and very hard at work fundraising. So today we'll jump into some tools that'll help us all succeed. First, I'll just talk about the basics. If you haven't already done so, be sure to go and update your profile story and your photo. You'll personalize it, you'll add your photos or photos from your gallery, and this is the hub of your fundraising. You'll also look at the email templates. You'll see under templates, one of them is called Summer. This we recently wrote, and it addresses the realities of 2020. It acknowledges the challenges of the current environment, and it requests support in a very sensitive way. So again, I encourage you to click on that email, personalize it in your own way, be sure to add your fundraising goal, and to send it to your contacts. As we all know, if we don't ask, people can't give. One of the things you'll see when you look at your profile page and the email templates is a link that says, give from your Fidelity Charitable DAF. And it's clear that this, bears some time to spend talking about DAFs. What is a DAF? And why is it important, and why is it on your profile page and your email? So DAFs, otherwise known as donor advised funds, are the fastest growing charitable giving vehicle around. Currently, there are $120 billion sitting in DAFs. How a DAF works is that an account can be opened up. It's just like any investment or bank account, and it can be opened at any of the big firms or community foundations, Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, etc. They can be open for as little as $5,000, and some of these DAFs hold hundreds of millions of dollars. The key is that once you put the money in a DAF, the only way for that money to exit the DAF is by giving it to a charity. So as the PanMass Challenge and as writers that are committed to fundraising, it's important that we make it easy for people to give from their DAFs to your fundraising. So one of the ways we did that was we partnered several years ago with Fidelity Charitable. They're a leader in the industry. They're the first actually big institution to provide DAFs to their clients. And they have created an interface, a widget that is on our website right in the donation process. And that's what you see when it says, give from your Fidelity Charitable DAF, where a donor trying to support you can, in the emails that you send or on your profile page, click through and make that donation directly there. Now, of course, if somebody has a donor advised fund at another institution, they can simply follow the process at that institution, enter the PMC's name or our tax ID number and your rider information, and that will come to us by check in a few weeks and be credited to your ride. So I just can't emphasize this enough, that with $120 billion sitting there in a rainy day giving fund, now more than ever is a time for us to tap into that. So far, our efforts have paid off. Last year alone, we received $4 million in DAF, over 50,000 individual donations, which made us #1 in New England for recipients of DAFs from Fidelity charitable accounts, and number 12 in the nation, which is pretty impressive. We were the only regional organization that hit the top 20 list in the nation. So again, I encourage everybody to understand what DAFs are, the power of them, and that helps your ability to succeed in your fundraising. Next, we're going to move on to Facebook. So sharing is easy with Facebook. And what we've done, again, is we've had an integration where directly from your profile page, once you're happy with how your profile page looks, your story, your pictures, it's time to launch your fully integrated Facebook fundraiser. It really just takes a click right from your profile page to create that fundraiser, and then the fundraising will begin. You'll see that donations come in quickly, and you'll get instant recognition, and it'll be attributed to your ride. First, it will show up generically as Facebook fundraiser, and in a couple days, it will show up with the actual name when that data comes through. I want you to all invite your friends to your Facebook fundraiser, so of course they can donate, but also they can share your fundraiser, which creates what's called the long tail, and you'll reach more people than ever. It's also important once you post your fundraiser to post frequent updates. Highlight your training or what your thoughts are about why you ride. This will keep it fresh and keep it highly visible, and again, encourage more fundraising. The Facebook fundraiser is great because it's lightning fast. It's one of the fastest ways people can click through and instantly support your ride with a donation. It's also free. There's no charges to the donor and no charges to the PMC. So we get to pass through 100%, which is so important to all of us. The results have truly surprised all of us. And lastly, I can say from personal experience, even if you use Facebook just a little, it's worth setting up. I very, very rarely go on Facebook. As Billy says, I live under a rock. So I launched my Facebook fundraiser, and within hours, I had many donations and several surprisingly very, very large ones. Now I'll turn the mic over to Dave Hellman, who will share some of our latest fundraising innovations with you.
Thanks, Michelle. So if DAPs out there are reaching out to a fairly high strata and Facebook reaches out to everyone, we're adding something else to the funnel. It's very exciting. Coming very soon, your donors will be able to donate by Venmo. PMC's developed a way to accept Venmo donations directly through your profile page. At your request, through your My PMC Manage page, will activate a unique Venmo flow code your donors will be able to use to click on, and if they're on a desktop, they'll see a flow code pop up. They focus their camera at that code, and magically Venmo appears with your ID already filled in for the comment area, and a donation will then be associated with your fundraising. If they see it on their phone, they'll be able to click the same thing and go directly into Venmo. So we're really excited to roll this out, coming to you very soon, and we'll have an email explaining exactly how it's going to work. Next, I want to talk about your training. If it's not on Strava, it didn't happen. Well, maybe not exactly, but Strava is the most popular activity sharing app out there, and we've taken advantage of that, and the fact that over 600 of our riders are in the PMS Challenge Club on Strava. And by creating an integration to share your training on your training tab of the new profile page, you can share that activity with everyone who follows you. Not only that, if you're on a team, your training will appear on the training tab of the team profile page along with your teammates and roll up to show how much training your entire team is doing. On the PMC Manage page, you just click on Authorize Strava to share your activities with the PMC. It's super easy. And if you're not already using Strava, just go to strava.com and create an account. It's absolutely free. Next, I want to talk about an advancement we've made in matching gifts. We've partnered with a company called Double the Donation to integrate matching gift discovery directly in the donation process. Someone who is making a donation and using their company email address, for example, will automatically on the confirmation page see information about that company's match and encourage them to connect to it. And otherwise, our regular matching process is much, much easier to use with a whole lot more information. So we're really excited to bring these additional enhancements to our fundraising process to you and kind of expand your funnel to help you get more donations. And with that, I want to pass it back to Michelle.
Thanks, Dave. Those innovations are really exciting. They've really taken a lot of the friction out of giving, and they've streamlined things, especially the double donation that you talked about at the end. It's really exciting that right from our website, people can start their donation matching process. So we're looking forward to seeing some great results with that. As we look at the overall fundraising trends this year, we can see, and it's no surprise probably to those on this call, that too many riders have not started their fundraising at all. And as Billy said, and as I said before, if we don't ask, they can't give. So we really ask that everybody on this call encourage other riders, your friends, your family members, your teammates, to move past the understandable hesitation and make the ask. We as PMCers, we know our role. It's to give everyone in our network the opportunity to be part of our effort to do good. I'm sure that you'll have some more questions as you move forward with your fundraising. So if you do, certainly post them on the Q&A and we'll try to answer them at the end of the session. You can also email us at email at PMC, panmasschallenge@pmc.org. We'll get back to you. And lastly, on the website, we have posted a step-by-step fundraising guide that walks you through some of the best practices so that you can have your best fundraising, even given the challenges we all face. Now, I'd like to welcome back our COO, Jarrett Collins, to take us home. Thanks.
Thanks, Michelle. Thank you, everyone. So, as you all know, the public health situation is keeping us from riding together this year. We've heard a little bit about how Billy is reimagining his PMC, but we'd like to talk about some of the ways that you should consider reimagining your PMC. First, it's gonna go without saying, but I'll add anyway that much as we'd like to, we cannot physically support your Reimagined ride this year. It breaks our hearts, and I'm sure that any of the volunteers on this call and many of the other volunteers that we count on every year are going to really miss being able to support riders and be part of the PMC experience this year. So what should you do? Well, first we're going to start with 5 guidelines about how to have a successful PMC. And then I'm going to give you some examples of how other people are reimagining their rides. So first, it's really important that you keep your riding group as small as possible. So ride solo, ride with a small group. We've conferred with obviously public health officials, but also groups like USA Cycling, who are putting out these advisories for their riders wherever they are in the US. We know that COVID-19 cases are rising in some parts of the country, declining in others. We're pleased to be included in Massachusetts in that latter category. But the bottom line is the fewer people you can ride with, the better. Number 2, these are not ordinary times when it comes to what's open and what's not. You know, you might on a long ride be able to count on a McDonald's or some kind of a shop where you might have normally stopped to get some food, some fluids, a nature break. Those things may not be available to you this year. So do your homework in advance. And when you plan out your ride, make sure that you really have thought through all the steps in the process. Third, if you can, try riding closer to home. Maybe a 50-mile or 75-mile route is 2 or 3 25-mile loops from your house. You can come back and relax as you do take your breaks, and you know that you know the support and help are never very far away. 4, this is true for any training ride, of course, that you'd ever go on. Pack to be self-sufficient, right? So have those spare inner tubes, spare CO2 cartridges, or a small pump if you carry one, the tools, your phone, maybe an extra battery, rain gear, medication if you need it during the day. Don't be out there on the road wishing that you'd packed that one thing that you thought, well, maybe you could get away with because it would lighten your bike. This is much more about being prepared. And then 5th, of course, given the current public health circumstances, carry a mask with you. Many people I know are wearing, balaclavas or other things they can pull up in a hurry as they're on their bike. Bring a little hand sanitizer. It doesn't take up much space. Maybe even an extra mask if you come along and find a rider that's broken down by the side of the road who isn't as well prepared as you are. But bottom line is it's all about preparation. It's the old Boy Scout motto, and you won't regret a single thing. Now let's talk about a couple of the creative ways some of your fellow riders are doing the PMC this year. These are actually excerpted from Facebook and Instagram. Some of you already participated and have seen some of these responses in the social media polls that we put out over the last week or so. And you can see as you read through these that you've got people who are riding in new locations, often closer to their home or to where they're vacationing this summer. They're riding with different people. We've got a number of riders who've told us that, gee, I've never had a chance to ride with my spouse before, or at least on PMC weekend. I've never had a chance to get my kids involved, maybe for riding the last 10 miles of a ride with me. And these are ways you can really help make it special. We've had riders tell us that they're going to go visit their donors and maybe stop 2 or 3 or 4 places along the ride that day and personally thank their donors from the end of the driveway. So do use your creativity. There are some examples here. If you go to our Facebook and our Instagram pages, you'll also see the examples listed there as well, in particular on Facebook, which is where most of these are from. So there's no wrong way to do a reimagined PMC if you're being safe and you're being smart. Use your creativity. And one other thing I'll say is that we're putting up more information on ride day nutrition as well. That'll be going up on our website by July 10th. And so you will have some things that you can refer to for same day riding nutrition, maybe some stretching and other things that you can do to make sure that you really have a healthy and safe PMC. As I said, we wish we could support every one of you on every one of your rides, and just can't do it this year. So on that note, I do want to make sure that there's a special comment that I can make about the pull that many of us will feel to ride on some part of the PMC routes on August 1st and 2nd. We have 47 communities who support the Pan Mass Challenge any year, and we count on that support year in, year out, and we'll count on it again next year. Please, please, please be good neighbors in these towns. We don't want to dismay, pardon me, any of our neighbors in those towns by having large pelotons rolling through, by stopping at start lines and finish lines in large numbers, or at traditional water stops. They are understandably not expecting the Pan Mass Challenge to roll through town this year because we're asking everyone to reimagine it, and we don't want to put undue strain on public services, first responders, traffic police, and the like. So thank you for respecting that. Okay, I'm going to actually turn this over now to Sarah Mercurio Hall, who's going to talk a little bit about what's in the box.
Hi, everyone. So what's in the box? This is the real fun part of the conversation as far as I'm concerned. This is the box that you're going to receive in the mail by July 24th. The challenge here is going to be to tell you a little about what's in the package while keeping it most of it secret so that it's a fun surprise for you guys to receive in the mail. I know we're all getting a lot of Amazon packages these days, but hopefully that hasn't taken away the fun of seeing something on your doorstep. So we've worked really, really hard to put something together that'll hopefully make you excited for the weekend. First and foremost, we felt that it was really, really important that all PMC riders receive their 2020 jersey so you could wear it on your PMC Reimagined ride, wherever that may be. Many of you have seen the jersey before, but here's another look along with the socks and this year's water bottle. The colors are based on Dana-Farber's new logo. The colors are coupled with a giant bike logo, so that way everybody is going to know who you guys are riding for once you're on the road. These colors are new to Dana-Farber this year, so we felt it was important to incorporate them. In addition, we're also including a YPMC poster for you guys to fill out and photograph yourself with. Riders and volunteers will both receive this, and riders, while they'll receive kind of a more complex box, volunteers will also receive a package as well, thanking them for volunteering, even though it's not with us this weekend, on the weekend. So back to the YIPMC posters. Some of you may remember that we did a video in 2013. We're trying to recreate this, but with photos you view from all over the place. We're all riding and volunteering for a reason. In just a few succinct words, just tell us what that is. We'll include instructions in the box on how to submit this and other photos from the weekends. Also in the box, our sponsors have generously donated items. So I'm not going to tell you what they are because it'll be a surprise, but I think you'll have fun unpacking and using everything on PMC weekend. Back to Jarrett.
Thanks, Sarah. I know I'm excited to get my shipment in the mail. So I'm going to go through some questions now. You all have been terrific in terms of submitting questions about this year's PMC Reimagined. And I'll go through questions here that have been submitted, and in particular start with those that have been upvoted. I believe we've answered some of these questions even as we've been speaking, but I'll touch on them briefly, and I'll otherwise distribute the questions to my colleagues here for advice. So one question that came up here is, should riders avoid the PMC routes on August 1st and 2nd? And the bottom line, I think, here is like what I said a moment ago. We're really asking everyone to be respectful of the towns through which we ride every year. They're not expecting us this year. And so some of you actually live on the PMC route. We clearly can't tell you not to leave your driveway and turn down the road and start riding. But we do hope that you'll be really respectful of these towns. And gosh, use your creativity. There's so many other places you could ride this year. I get the symbolicness of riding on the route and riding it on that weekend. But if you can either shift off of that weekend and do the route a different time, or mix it up and try a different route this year, I think that would be preferable. Sarah Palestine, who I noted, by the way, is integrated with Strava. Thank you, Sarah. We featured her Strava integration earlier in this presentation. Asks if there's any way that she or any of us can connect with riders in our area to do small group rides. We don't have a mechanism to do that right now, Sarah. As you can appreciate, we're not necessarily trying to facilitate larger groups riding together. But what I'd encourage you to do is network with other riders, ask around, maybe through your own social media, to see if you can match up with people who have similar interests on similar days. So the next question is, will the PMC program be available after PMC weekend in case riders are riding at that time? Bill Alfano, do you want to try to field that one?
Sure. Thanks, Jared. Great question, and thank you for it. Our goal is to anything that we're featuring during PMC weekend as part of programming, we'll archive it for you and you'll be able to come back to it. Either if it's time shifting during the day, maybe you'll be out riding in the morning so you don't get to see the start line video presentation, but you're available in the afternoon, you'll be able to watch it then. Or if you're out all day riding and can't even really jump into anything till maybe Sunday or Monday, it'll be available for you then also. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's see. Next question. Do we sell PMC branded masks or gaiters? I'm afraid we don't do that this year. And I appreciate the enthusiasm from that questioner. I will say that there's, of course, a lot of great sources for masks and gaiters out there now. I love that people are thinking about wearing them. Again, we all know through public health messages, it protects others as much as it protects you. And I think is obviously just a great statement by the PMC that we do care about health. Of course, being a health-inspired nonprofit. So a reminder from one of our riders, thank you for submitting this, that the AAA offers its members a ride home if they have a problem while cycling. They won't fix the bike, but they'll bring you and your bike home. I did not know this, and indeed, I'm going to keep my AAA card with me now when I ride, but that's a great tip, so thank you very much. So a question about why we decided to start the programming at 7 a.m. on Saturday. That was a tricky one. Thank you very much for submitting the question. You're right. The typical Sturbridge start is much closer to 5:30 on Saturday. And the challenge I think we had was trying to capture as many people who would be up and awake as possible by 7 a.m. For those of you who are out riding, per what Bill said this morning, we'll make encore presentations or an archive available to be able to see things like the start line presentation. It was a topic of vigorous debate internally, but we ended up at 7 a.m. and hope that at least many riders will be able to enjoy it then. Here's a question about whether or not we have to raise $1,000 as a virtual rider in order to get what's in the box, asking for team members. Thank you. The answer on that one is the entire box that Sarah described a moment ago is not what would be sent to virtual riders. Rather, virtual riders will get the jersey if they choose one, and they can get it, in fact, if they've raised $1,000 by July 10th. That was originally July 1st, and we've just extended that deadline. So if you know someone who's a virtual rider, and if you think they'd be excited to receive a jersey before the PMC weekend, before the sort of last part of July, by all means encourage them to raise the $1,000 by July 10th, and we'll reach out to them and get all of the particulars and where they'd like it shipped. Here's a suggestion. Volunteers who want to get more involved could adopt a rider and share her or his Facebook fundraiser and actively post updates for that rider. I think I'll throw this one over to Dave Hellman. I don't know about the being able to post for other riders without that rider's permission. But maybe you could comment on that, Dave.
Well, it's absolutely appropriate to share a fundraiser. And if you have access to someone's fundraiser, you can certainly share it. And that extends the reach of that rider's fundraiser. And you can share it other places. You can copy a link from that fundraiser and put it out in an email or text to someone who doesn't know about it. But every time you share it, it gets boosted by Facebook as well to everyone you know. So I think it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask a follow-on question. There's a rider who says that she loves sending handwritten notes to donors, a nice touch, of course, at any time. However, Facebook won't pass along the addresses. I wonder if you could comment about any suggestions for someone who wants to be able to acknowledge their Facebook donors in writing.
Sure. Facebook does give the donor an option to share their email address with the fundraiser. Our experience is only about 10% do. One way that you can boost that is within your fundraiser itself, within your story. You might ask people to please share your email address with your donation so I can thank you properly, quote unquote. Otherwise, use Facebook itself to thank that person directly through their link.
Great. Thank you very much. I'm going to give the two last questions here. So this one's for Michelle. Is there a date, Michelle, when my Reimagined ride should be completed by? Can I, for instance, ride in late August?
Thanks, Jarrett. That's a great question. You can ride anytime, anywhere. Where you PMC, how you PMC, when you PMC is totally up to you. The PMC's fiscal year goes right through December 31st. October 1st is typically our fundraising deadline. So there's some certain momentum to doing your ride sometime during the summer and, having people really rally around and support you during that time. So again, you have a lot of flexibility, whatever you think is most effective.
And will there be a fundraising deadline, Michelle, at a certain time of the year? And will that differ from the traditional fundraising deadline?
That's a great question. So October 1st, again, is our typical fundraising deadline. Now, that's when we would have charged cards for any deficiency in fundraising, but we are not enforcing minimums this year, so that will not happen. Although, of course, we expect everybody to, to really stand by their commitment to raise as much as they can to raise their minimum or to reach for heavy hitter or heavy hitter top 10. We will be producing a yearbook this year, and we start pulling those lists for the yearbooks at the very beginning of October. So whatever's in the books in people's personal fundraising accounts around October 1st is what we use to publish the yearbook and give people recognition for hitting those goals of top 10 or heavy hitter. So keep that in mind as you wrap up your fundraising. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. I have one last question for you. Do I get anything if I hit heavy hitter status this year?
Yes, that is a great question. So all of those kind of goals that did not change this year, thankfully. So we will have a nice heavy hitter gift for everyone who reaches heavy hitter. And again, you'll get recognition in the yearbook just like you would, and you'll get that early opportunity to register for next year's PMC. So everything is the same for heavy hitter this year as it would be any year.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. So in the interest of time, I'm going to keep moving along here. There was one last question about whether or not PMC merchandise will be available online because folks won't be able to buy it in Sturbridge, MMA, Babson, et cetera this year. And the answer is yes. And as each collection comes in, Sarah will be releasing that to the store. Right now, the Outdoor Voices collection is there online, some great merchandise with the PMC logo proudly displayed on it. So by all means, check that out. And we should have a full store, I would suggest, before the end of this month. With that, I'd like to turn it back, I should say, to Bill Alfano, who has a special guest with us today. Thanks, Bill.
Hey, thank you, Jared, and thank you, everybody, for your questions. it's my pleasure to bring on our special guest. She's an award-winning news anchor at WBZ TV. She was just named one of Boston's most influential people by Boston Magazine. And probably most importantly, at least to us, she's a 10-year PMC rider and heavy hitter. I'd like to welcome Lisa Hughes. Hi, Lisa. There might have been some breaking news at WBZ. Lisa, if you're there and you have mute on, maybe you can unmute or we can move forward.
Hey, can you hear me and see me?
Yeah, there you are. Hi, Lisa.
Oh, good. I don't know what happened. I think maybe it goes into an automatic shut-off mode. Sorry about that.
We always blame
great
Billy
to
for
see
that,
everybody.
Lisa.
We have technical problems over here. I was just so excited for this year because it is my 10th year riding the PMC. When I started riding, I didn't own a bicycle. So I only bought the bike so I could ride the PMC. And this year I actually bought a new bike. So that speaks to how much I've fallen in love with biking and fallen in love with the event. And I look forward to it all year. I think like so many people watching right now, it's the highlight of our summer. It's like this wonderful weekend of positivity. And it's different this year, obviously. You know, I think we all applaud the PMC's decision to reimagine the ride and to create this excitement around, you know, creating our own rides. But I won't lie, you know, the day that we had to announce that the ride had changed to a virtual ride or a reimagined ride, I was really crushed. And so I think I started riding earlier this year. In all honesty, a part of that was to get away from homeschooling for a few minutes. But it gave me an opportunity at a safe distance to reconnect with friends at a time when nobody could reconnect with anyone. And so I've really come around to feeling the same excitement. I know it's going to be different, but I also know that it's still going to define my summer and that it's going to be something that we look back on and say, if we ever needed proof of how resilient we are as a group and how committed we are to our cause, this summer and this August is going to prove that for sure. And I'm excited. You know, it's just, I'm standing as close as I can to my mailbox because I know that the PMC tank that I ordered, in addition to the jersey, is going to come like any day. They've sent me the notice that it's on its way, and a couple of my friends have already received it. So I want to see the mailman bring this to my door so that I can take pictures of it because it's so awesome. So I'm excited to be with you. I'm excited to be talking about the PMC. I'm excited to be at the station where the PMC continues to be one of the positive stories that we get to tell every year and the wonderful people we meet. And I'm excited to raise money for cancer research at Dana-Farber at a time when they need it more than ever.
Well, thank you, Lisa. And with nothing going on in the news these days, I'm sure it was really easy for you to carve out this time and jump on this call today. So
it was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, we have a few questions for you. Is it okay if I fire a couple your way?
Absolutely.
All right. Here's the big one.
Okay.
How are you reimagining your PMC this year?
Okay, so I'm treating this year's PMC, at least with respect to training, the same way I look at every PMC with shorter mileage. So I think even if you've done it before, you feel a certain pressure to get up there in mileage. And I'm riding with the same kind of frequency, albeit maybe in slightly smaller groups and with buffs and masks and everything. But trying to get out 4 and 5 times a week to treat this like it's a normal PMC, because we all, at least I'll speak for myself, I need that feeling of some normalcy. So if I can get out and ride whenever the weather allows, I'm doing it. So that's how I'm reimagining the training. The actual ride, I'm going to do a Cape ride, which will be shorter, and it will not be PMC weekend. And then I want to do, sort of in the interest of doing a Gemini thing, do a water ride and an inland ride. Probably will involve the Harvard General Store and their Rice Krispie treats if it's open, and then home.
That is awesome. Let's talk a little bit about opening ceremonies, or the broadcast of opening ceremonies on WBZ TV. Obviously, it's going to be a little different this year. Do we get a little sneak preview of what you're envisioning?
Yeah. So I love that you talked about Billy's ride, because I think that's going to be interesting and a great component, because we don't ever have that visual, because we're always doing it before the weekend. So we're going to be talking about why IPMC again, and including riders in that. We're also going to be giving riders a look at the reimagined PMCs for other riders. So that's going to be kind of fun. We're going to be talking to Nobel Prize winning oncologist and Harvard Medical School Dr. Bill Kalin, who of course is a star at Dana-Farber and in the world with respect to discoveries. We're going to be talking to Lori Glimsher, of course, with Dana-Farber, about what this means and why COVID-19 has created an urgency around cancer care in an unprecedented way. And we're going to try to include as many riders as we can to build the same excitement for that special show on the 31st that we would have if we were all in Sturbridge together. I know I get so much energy from that experience that I am looking forward to that Friday night show, which we are going to be doing live, as a way to like reconnecting with the PMC community, even if we're together apart.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it. Back to you, Lisa. This is your 10th year, your 10th PMC. So thank you very much. Anything from the first 9 years, one memory maybe that stands out that you want to talk to us about?
I don't think I can do one, but I can do a rapid fire few. First ride, finishing day one with a broken arm, felt like a real accomplishment. My daughter riding her first PMC in 2017 with Sophie was great. And the experience last year of finishing on that beautiful Sunday with my girlfriends who I ride with, and just the feeling of togetherness and accomplishment and happiness.
Yeah. And a PMC favorite question that we will give to you also. Any guilty pleasure favorite foods from PMC weekend?
Absolutely. I save up all year so that on PMC day 2, I can savor every peanut butter and fluff sandwich that comes my way. And I pity the volunteer who told me one year that they were out. I was like, oh no, you can't be out of that sandwich. I'm going to find someone who has it. I don't do it day 1. It's my special treat day 2. That and Harpoon Rec League, or whatever Harpoon is available to me. I would say those are my 2 guilty pleasures, but the peanut butter and fluff is the one that I really only have PMC weekend, and I love it very much.
Yeah, that seems to be at the top of everybody's list. Last question, Lisa.
So good.
What do you think, or what are you looking forward to most for PMC 2021?
I can already say it's just being together. I'm a hugger. I love the closeness of the weekend. I want to be near people. I want to share stories and toast to one another and, high five pedal partners and families. And I am just missing that so much. And I'm so glad that we are able to ride even in small groups, because I feel like that is part of what keeps us, mentally sound in this really tough time. But I just can't wait until we can all be together, sharing the PMC love in the way that we like to do it, and in a way that makes us feel whole and contributing to a cause that's bigger than we are.
Listen, thank you very much as a rider, as a fundraiser. Thank you for what you do for us and BZ does for us from the media side as well. Thanks for being on today, Lisa.
Thanks for creating the best event ever. It's nice to be a part of it.
Speaking about creating the best event ever, I'm now bringing back up Billy Starr. Billy?
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Lisa. And I think Lisa captured a lot of points that matter to us. I'm a hugger too. And I've missed the community deeply, but it's important to demonstrate that this community exists when we are, again, to repeat what Lisa said, alone together or together alone. This is the new normal for all of us. But cancer's not taking a year off, and neither can we. However you reimagine your PMC experience, it's critical that you do the fundraising. I know I'm preaching to the choir on this webinar, but spread it far and wide. This has been an opportunity for our business as well, with no registration fee, with no fundraising minimum. Ideally, anybody who actually cares about funding cancer research can now be a PMCer. in the final analysis, on a bike or not, there's a lot riding on us. I want to thank everybody for their time today. I wish you the best of luck in leaving. Think of the symbolism of people literally this summer riding all over the world in our 2020 jersey. Together we can do great things, and we will still represent a massive check for Dana-Farber this fall. Thank you all very much.